What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and we're joined as always by my outstanding co-hosts. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He plays second base for the Tigers. He was all swag. It's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got the NFL draft analyst. You can catch all his work at NBCSportsChicago.com and the My Teams app. The draft just finished up, so love to hear what he has to say about what happened. It's Glenn Morgan. He's our GM. Gentlemen, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Oh, daddy daycare over here right now. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
My man, you got to do that sometimes, man.
Yeah.
There he is.
Can't say I miss those days. Can't say that at all. Well, I can't get my hands full with the grown-up versions. Tomorrow, my wife walks. She got her master's, so tomorrow she walks.
Oh man!
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'll let her know. We're all excited about that. Next weekend, my 22-year-old, she gets her bachelor's, so she walks next weekend. So, busy with that. And in between that, my oldest nephew, my brother's oldest son, he's getting married. So I'm gonna be down in Georgia, down in the Atlanta area myself next week. So
oh man.
Yeah. Georgia's gonna get a fill of us.
Yeah, I'll be down there too.
Y'all all gonna be in Georgia next week, huh?
Yeah.
You didn't get the memo, Ez? You didn't get the memo?
I didn't, man. I'll be stuck in Chicago here. I'm not going anywhere.
And that's the next couple of weeks. And to tie it all off, my youngest daughter will be graduating grammar school come June. So three graduations in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Are you gonna have like just one big old graduation party?
Are you kidding? That would be too easy. They're going to stretch it out. Everybody gets the right to enjoy their own celebration, uniquely and individually.
Man,
right?
You nice, because I would have. It's just one grand bash. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
When you're outnumbered like I am, you just go along and get along, man.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, so where you guys want to start? Lots to talk about here. You want to do the NFL draft? You want to go NBA playoffs? Where you guys want to start? It's up to you guys.
I say we go playoffs.
All right. Let's do the playoffs. They've been awesome.
They pretty much have been, even though, especially the ones where the Grizzlies play,
Yeah, I don't know what it is with them. They series are amazing.
They just, man, they got that excitement factor with Ja, and man, you got guys taking players out, and
man, controversial.
It's just a lot going on. I guess let's start with that series. Warriors and Grizzlies tied at 1 apiece, heading out to San Francisco. I guess the big thing was the controversy in both games 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Did Draymond deserve to get ejected in game 1? And then what's my man's name?
Dylan Brooks.
Brooks got ejected and now suspended for game 3. Were those warranted?
Go ahead.
I think both ejections were warranted. I am not agreeing with the suspension.
Why not?
I just don't think. I mean, I don't think it was intentional. I do think it was, flagrant. I feel like they reacted to him getting hurt versus the actual foul in itself. Because to me, and I've been going back and forth with people all weekend over this, all week over this. I felt like what Draymond did was more dangerous than what Brooks did. I mean, granted, he kind of tried to hurry up and brace the guy from falling, but he talking about his hand got caught in a jersey. Man, you pulled that guy jersey. and like he could have fell flat on his face, and I just felt like the suspension. I felt like both flagrant, fouls and ejections were warranted. I just didn't think the ejection was. I mean, for one, it's kind of like Brooks is being suspended for 2 games. It happened 3 minutes into the game.
Right.
He was ejected, and now he's suspended another game. So that's like 2 games really that he's missed. So yeah, I just didn't agree with the suspension. I agree with the call on the court, though.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Like, I think the suspension is in reaction to Junior getting hurt, and I guess you could arguably say that Golden State's going to be without their guy for more than 1 game. So maybe an extra game maybe makes it sit right a little bit with the fans, possibly. But listening to those guys, Shaq and Barkley and the rest of the TNT crew, and how Barkley and Shaq were kind of like, especially Barkley was like, he was in it, like or even Kenny Smith was like the inexperience of him giving a hard foul in the playoffs was what he was probably more guilty of than anything else. Like, yeah, he intended to give him a hard foul because you want to give him a hard foul because you don't want him to score on the basket, want to make sure he doesn't score. But he kind of over exuberant, with his coming at him and swinging kind of like almost like he got there late and kind of swinging just to make sure. And he caught the back of his head, which, of course, once you're in the air, when the head goes one way, the body goes the other. It usually doesn't turn out well. And so, yeah, I don't think he doesn't have a history of it, of being malicious, malcontent when it comes to being physical. And the Grizzlies play physical. It's the playoffs, and I'm not excusing anything. I'm just saying everything's heightened. And when you have a team as inexperienced and young as the Grizzlies, I think Barkley makes a good point. It's like, hey, and Kenny Smith, he just, more experienced fouler might be like Draymond. Like I know you said it may be a bit more dangerous, but Draymond, is an aggressive, hard fouler, been in the playoffs a lot. So he has a better way of fouling you that would
he sold it a little bit.
Right.
Because he tried to kind of like brace the fall and
Right. And he didn't catch the cat where he was so off balance that, he was going to land as bad as Junior did. So yeah, all that long story to say, I agree with you. Like both the initial calls were warranted, flagrant 2s, but I think the suspension is more of a post reaction to the end. Like if he's not injured, I don't think he's suspended another game. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But damn, I tell you what though. Them dunks John's doing on people. Oh my God. That might need to be outlawed because that dude, oh man, I mean, that's some, Vince Carter, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant type in your face, during the playoffs. You can't stop me kind of stuff. And I like the fact that he's talking, he's backing it up. So he drops 47 on Golden State in the last game, and he's talking to Steph and let them know, like, hey, I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. And that's good. The NBA needs that, and the fans need to see that kind of stuff, and it makes it riveting.
But you know what that tells me that you had 2 close games. Yeah. He's having to put up Superman type numbers in order to keep them in these games.
Yeah, we've seen that before here in Chicago.
Yeah, but Ja's not Superman though.
No, he's not there yet. I'm not saying, that they being the Grizzlies are going to overcome this and they'll be that team this year. But it's good to see to let them know that, hey, we ain't going nowhere. As long as I'm here, we're going to be.
Can he keep that up though?
No.
I mean, I look at it like this. He doing what he owed because in the first series, he wasn't really doing nothing. He had the big game, I want to say 5.
Something like that
versus Minnesota, but like he kind of had a rough series, that's first series. So now he's looking like the job we've been seeing all year. Let's see if he can keep up.
That's what I'm saying though, is that I can't see him keeping that pace.
No,
to keep them in these games.
No,
I agree. Going back to San Francisco 1-1. That sounds so weird saying they're going to San Francisco.
Yeah, the Warriors did their job.
Yeah. I can't see it going past 6. That's
wow.
no shot.
You don't think it can go 7, huh? You don't think they can steal one?
I think it goes 5.
Wow. Really?
I think they desperately have to win one in San Francisco.
Yeah, no doubt.
For it to go beyond 5 games.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
Clearly, but I sometimes you don't know you can do it until you do it, and once you know, and then you're like, okay, so we know. So now you got to deal with us knowing, and that's different than dealing with us maybe thinking and maybe suspecting. And granted, I mean, you look at the way those guys shot the last game, guys from Golden State. I mean, Steph and both Clay, thank you. They both shot pretty horribly. I think they're like 16 for 40 something or whatever, 16 for 48 or something like that.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Yeah, they're pretty bad, and and it allowed the Grizzlies to come back and to win the game. But by the same token, the Grizz were that close to winning the first game too, and it's the playoffs. If you win by 1 or win by 21, you trying to get the win. Yeah, you trying to get the 4 before the other cat does. So I don't care if it's close. I don't care if he has got to score 47 every time or he scores 27. It doesn't matter. But I'm just saying overall, it's entertaining, and I'm glad that we have a team, and it's not New York, it's not LA, it's not one of the big teams. It's a team from Memphis. So you got a small market team, relatively speaking, that has a chance to really do something. And that's just, to me, that's like Milwaukee won the championship last year. I like that because that makes the league good overall. What if the Grizzlies make it this year? Make it there, but if they don't win it, you have Milwaukee and Phoenix playing for the championship.
That so makes for awesome television ratings.
No, it probably doesn't. Certainly doesn't. But I think it helps the league overall, and if these teams can sustain, because now Milwaukee is becoming a marquee team. You're going to tune in to watch Milwaukee play now because they won the championship, and they're in your consciousness now. They're in the casual fan is aware of the Milwaukee Bucks.
I personally feel like in the East, I think Milwaukee is the only team that, Boston has a history, but other than Boston in Milwaukee, no one's watching the Heat or Philly.
No,
if they were to get there.
So why do you think that is? Because the Heat, they've won championships in our recent consciousness. So why is no one pumped for the Heat? Is this no marquee?
Because their fans not even pumped. Their fans don't show up to like third quarter. Like it's that arena be empty.
No. They get there in the second, and then they leave midway through the third. That's what happens. Yes,
that's why Miami just is not a great sports town, I guess.
No, that's not true. I mean, when LeBron and them were there, they were full to the brim.
That's because LeBron was there, and
that's what I'm saying.
But even still, if you saw the reports, like people were saying the fans were terrible. Like they would come late and leave early. Like it was about the party. It was about the after the game for them. Even when LeBron was there, that's when I started hearing all this stuff, because it's like people was tripping out. Like, damn, you got LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Bosh, team on top of the world, and these fans are still like fair weather. Like just
there's too much to do in Miami in the summer.
It's too much to do, and it is a football. It's a football town. They love their Hurricanes and they love their Dolphins. I don't know about the Heat.
And the Marlins, actually, they don't.
No, they don't love the Marlins.
No, they don't love it. No, right. It's a lot of talent, and a lot of talent comes to Florida. But you're right. Yeah, they don't. Only for the Marlins.
Though, if I were is it a Miamian?
Sure.
Miamian.
We'll go with that.
If I were from Miami, I would be a Marlins season ticket holder just for the fact that they have a Clevelander club at their stadium. I'd be there every night. Just saying.
So what's so special about the Clevelander?
Man.
I always thought it was weird that a place called the Clevelander was in Miami. It just throws me off.
Yeah, I've been to Miami once, and we definitely partied at the Cleveland.
The one on South Beach.
On South Beach.
Let me tell you, man, it's the perfect spot for just straight up people watching. and you see a lot of beautiful people. It's outdoors. You can sit me. I always say, whenever I go to Miami, I've been to Miami a few times. Whenever I go to Miami, just sit me down at the Clevelander from 11 a.m. to
11 a.m.
Yeah,
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
to 2 a.m.
To 2 a.m. Just sit me at the Clevelander. I'm cool. I don't have to go nowhere else. I'm buying drinks that entire time and yeah, just enjoying the vibe that's down there, man. It's crazy. So I get it. I get why the Miami fans don't get to what's their stadium now? What is it? It's not American Airlines anymore. Whatever it is, they don't get there on time. I get it. It's things to do there. Hey, Dallas and Phoenix. That's 2-0, and it's over.
Yeah.
Luka scored 35 last night, and yeah, it wasn't a game. And it's like they're playing.
It's over.
It's like the Phoenix Suns are just playing. It's Luka, Phoenix versus Luka.
So you don't think when they come to Dallas and the little Brunson from Chicagoland area, Brunson.
No,
from the Brunson, the family Brunsons. But, you know, he was pretty good the series before. You don't think him and Luka can
no.
They're not gonna win one.
Luka doesn't allow guys like Brunson or like Dinwiddie to get in rhythm to do what Brunson did last series.
Right, Luka was out when that happened, right?
True.
Yeah, he was out the first game.
Where Brunson scored 41.
When he scored 41.
Right.
And then Luka came back and Brunson scored 31, I think game 4. But like Luka was trying to get his feet under him. But like Luka's Sioux ball dominant. So like guys like he needs shooters around him, catch and shoot guys. And Brunson and Dinwiddie aren't catch and shoot guys. So that's why they're getting in trouble this series. Those guys need the ball in their hand to do stuff, and they're completely out of rhythm. That's why I don't see them winning a game, because Luka's not going to change how he plays. I think that one is over. I love Luka though, but I think that one's over.
I think your son disagrees with you. He's kind of vibing with what I'm saying.
I'm rocking with the Mavs. I'm rocking with the Mavs, no doubt.
Another
thing. Devin Booker and Chris Paul.
Yeah, it's a good combination.
That's a great backcourt for Phoenix. Is this the team to beat in the NBA?
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, you think they can beat when Middleton comes back? You think they can beat Milwaukee?
Yeah, I think they can. They got the size.
Yeah.
They got the size that can deal with them.
They still have anybody that can stop Giannis, though.
Well, nobody's gonna stop Giannis.
But the rest of the guys have gotten better. You know, whenever a team wins the championship, it looks like the others become more confident and more sure of who they are. I look at the way Bobby Portis plays, Grayson Allen, and look, I know Vincenzo was on the team last year, right? I think Allen brings a better toughness for them, and he's not as consistent a shooter, but he'll drive to the bucket more. Yeah, and he will knock down those open threes. And Giannis is doing a lot better job at distributing the ball. It looks awkward as hell when he does it, but he's still getting the ball to guys when they're open. And it's just weird watching a guy that big just go to the hole and like dish it underneath the basket or somebody. You know, it's just weird at times. But Bobby Portis is playing, with a lot of confidence. I don't know, man. And it's not that I'm not saying that Phoenix isn't playing with confidence, because they play really well too. And hell, Cam Payne looks like he's just a legitimate NBA basketball players. I kind of want to see the rematch, just to see if Phoenix can beat them. I would be interested in that.
Well, the reason I say they're the team to beat is because it's unsurety with Middleton. Like, So if Middleton was there, I'll definitely say Milwaukee. I think even without Middleton, Milwaukee can beat Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I think Phoenix is the team to beat, though. I think it's tougher for Milwaukee to beat them, of course, without Middleton than if they had him. So I'm looking at it without Middleton at that point. I'm viewing it right now that Middleton, I'm just thinking about it like Middleton's not coming back. So that's how I'm looking at it.
There's one thing you're not factoring in, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. There's one thing in that little Lee Corso. There's one thing you're not factoring in. Chris Paul is yet to be injured during this playoff run. It's gonna happen. It happens every single year.
Hey, we can't.
Well, no, he got it. He got it out of the way. That's what happened.
No.
At the end of the season, he got it out of the way.
No. It's during the playoffs. It never fails. He's going great, and this all the teams he plays, they look great, and then all of a sudden it'll be either in the conference finals or in the actual finals. So they need to get it out the way now while they got this 2-0 lead. That's what they need to do now, get it out the way.
So I ask you this. We talking about Milwaukee. What is your thoughts on the series with them in Boston? It's 1-1.
It might go 7.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll go 7. And I think Miami.
I think 6.
Really? Who you got?
I think 6. I got Milwaukee.
Really?
I felt like, to their credit, Boston came out desperate, as rightfully so in game 2. They couldn't miss. In that first half, Milwaukee just digged themselves too big of a hole. They actually, I think, played even better than Boston in that second half until the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. And that's when Boston started raining threes again, and the score got back lopsided. But I just felt like they were hot early, and that just carried over. Milwaukee just couldn't get back in it. I don't see them being hot like that again. I don't see Jaylen Brown being hot like that again. I'm not even going to say the team. Him and the guy from Tennessee, Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Man, he was unbelievably hot. Like,
he ain't, man. Come on,
man. I'm not buying into it. He gonna have to make me believe it.
Come on,
man. He's gonna have to keep doing
it. Tennessee guys all around the place.
And I think it goes 6. I really do. I don't see it getting 7.
I think it goes 7, and I see Milwaukee maybe edging them out. But Boston, they're intriguing. And, what's the center that came back? What's his name again? Is it Williams as well?
Robert Williams.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. As he continues to play and gets his legs underneath him and gets a little more acclimated, it could be a bit of a difference. I mean, Boston is playing some really good defense, and they are changing things up enough, and they are adjusting, I think, more quickly than some other teams who may stick to stuff just because it's always worked for them. And I don't trust Milwaukee's head coach at all. I think they won last year despite him, or in spite of him, or whatever. Not to despite him, but in spite of him.
You don't think Budenholzer's a good coach?
I think he is okay.
So wait.
Didn't he? I mean, even before he got to Milwaukee, he did some things in Atlanta, right?
And then I think he's a coach that's good to a point. And I think when it gets to these type of situations, when it gets to other coaches that are in the playoffs, he will be out coached. I think his players win in spite of him. Not to despite him, straight it off, but they win in spite of him.
You were just saying they're the team to beat, and you questioning their coach.
Yes, in spite of it. It's kind of like, look, we're all watching winning. We're all watching Winning Time, right? That Lakers team is winning in spite of Paul Westhead. Okay,
because of Pat Riley.
Partially, but I'm just saying sometimes the players know what to do. I mean, NBA, man, sometimes you can kind of tell the players, they take over certain moments, and Giannis is a player who can take over certain moments. I think he's I thought he was he being Budenholzer, I thought he was a liability a couple of years ago. I remember we got a friend of ours, another Brandon. the guy we work with, who's like a huge Giannis fan, and he was like, Milwaukee. This is 2-3 years ago, and I'm like, dude, your biggest liability is your head coach, and he was this close to being let go. I'm not the only person that's thinking that. He was this close to being let go. I think he gets you there to a point. And sometimes you look at him, they do those cutaway shots. He's looking like, what the hell is going on? He's looking like he don't know what to do. He's looking like, man, they didn't tell me he was going to be like this. So I think the brother from Boston, because Boston was struggling so much earlier this year. And I was like, man, dude, like I really hope he figures it out. And somewhere they hit a point, they figured it out. And I think they did a really good job against the Nets. And I know the Nets aren't a complete team, but to still be able to keep those two guys from scoring the way they did, and they were all in Durant's head, man. I mean, you can tell they had an effective way to get after those guys. And playing Milwaukee's a different type of team. I thought they did a good job defensively against Milwaukee. I'm not saying it was like the most stifling of defenses, but I thought they did a good job. And again, I think confidence has a lot to do with it, man. And keep in mind, they did all this without the defensive player of the year or playing. Smart didn't play.
That was what I was going to ask next. Like, what happens? He come back game 3 and they lose again.
I don't know if they will. I mean, if they do, would it be because of him or just because Milwaukee plays a little bit better?
Sit the defensive player of the year. Sit him. Yeah. We don't need that guy.
You know how I go. It's what have you done for me lately?
Man. Hard on him. Hey,
talk about the other series.
Let's go to Philly. What's up with your man?
I love it. For 2 years, he's wanted the absolute easiest route. And for 2 years, it ain't do nothing but get hard as hell for him both times. Both times. I love it. I hate it for Embiid, though. I do hate it for Embiid. But
so he has a fracture to
orbital fracture.
He has a broken face, basically, right?
Yeah, he got what
there's no way he's coming back for this series.
He got what Earl Spence did to you guys a couple weeks ago.
What didn't happen to Derrick Rose?
He had an
Is that what
fracture?
happened to him? Yeah, it's called an elbow in practice, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He can come back. Not that many people that tall. You shouldn't be seeing too many elbows.
But Embiid has concussions. He had a concussion too. That's what really held him. It's been holding him out.
I can't imagine.
He said he can't even turn on his phone.
Wow.
The light on his phone is
I can't imagine having that's gotta even like to just move your head probably gives excruciating pain. But with that, you would think Harden would at least give him a game, right?
What Harden you talking about? You talking about 2017, 16, 15 Harden? Or are you talking about 2019, 2020?
But that ain't that long ago, though.
Well,
man, fall off the cliff can be real steep at times.
I mean, but we're talking about Harden in the playoffs.
That's true. Yeah.
Are we seeing anything that much different?
I can't argue that.
Yeah, actually, he looks.
Yeah, we are. We are seeing a decline, like physically, but as far as just we're used to seeing him be down in the playoffs. Just now, it's like you say, more like cliff-like down. Like okay, your skills are completely diminishing. Like I want to say, I think it was Steven Jackson today was saying how, like even in Houston when he had those bad games, he was still shooting 15 to 20 plus shots. Like he only took 4 shots in the second half last game. Like he that's different. He like so it ain't the fact that he had them playoff woes necessarily in the past. It's like something else is up. Like, because even then, when he had them playoff woes, he wasn't not taking shots. He just wasn't hitting the shots. Now he's not even taking them. So
what is? I mean, he's only. I mean, for a one superstar. 32 is not old. So
No,
what's happening? What's the
he out of shape. He out of shape in his confidence of what it used to be. I mean, that's pretty much what it is to me. I mean, he's getting people talking at him and barking at him, and they're backing it up, and he's backing away. I mean, look, dude, you can't be in the NBA and win on reputation. You just can't. Too many of these young cats are coming after you. Too many of these guys' skills are way better. I mean, you got guys like Giannis. Back in the 80s and the 90s, you didn't have men like that skilled. Embiid, guys like that were rare. I mean, maybe Akeem Olajuwon, maybe David Robinson, but you're catching a whole bunch of cats that are skilled at those heights and those levels, let alone the small forwards and the guys like Tatum, who 6'10" and dribbling the ball like he a two guard, and Levine. These guys are just coming, and then not only that, but this is the halcyon days of point guards. I mean, you haven't seen point guards in mass like this in the history of the NBA. I mean, since we're around 2005, 6, 7, somewhere around there, there's been a point guard league, and this dude is trying to get by on reputation. And not only that, but they're calling the game differently. That seems to have affected him more than anybody else. He's getting called for traveling more than he ever did.
Yeah, I was going to say you can't take 5 steps. That's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, he flourished when he was allowed to run all over the place. Now that he's not, it looks like it's affecting him mentally a little bit. And physically, he's not as in good a shape. And I thought he was always in decent shape, but now he's in less than decent shape. And he can't take those steps. No, dude. Sorry. And not that, man, but maybe all those minutes, maybe the pound of the rock as much as he did. That stuff has caught up to him. Like, your leg.
Because if you think about it, over those, he's 32, I think he's in his 13th season. Like Harden hadn't missed many games in his career. Like that load management stuff, he didn't do it.
Right.
Like he played. So like, granted, he's 32 and it seems young, but he's not one like these other cats who sat out multiple games or had injuries that set him out for a full year or some months. Like he's been playing full seasons. Like, so.
What Chuck you say dribble. That caught up to him.
Yeah, not just the dribbling, but holding the ball and then trying to go to the hole. I mean, like everything was him, physically attacking all the time. And like you say, he's playing 42 minutes in the playoffs, 43 minutes in the playoffs. And every year for several years he's in the playoffs. It'll wear you down, man. And then now you're out of shape, so you're not even in shape to combat that. Yeah, sorry, bro. And max deal, that is so not happening,
man.
That is not happening. If you be a fool, you should be fired if you give him a max deal.
So Miami's taking this in 4, right?
You gave him draft picks.
No, come on, dude. We give him a little respect. Miami's taking this in 3.
Wow. Wow. That's disrespectful. That's so disrespectful.
To the Heat, they have to make the play for it.
To the Heat.
It's a freaking joke. And no Embiid, no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell this is getting past 4.
Well, NBA playoffs rolling on. Should be hopefully it's as good as it's been the rest of the way.
As a matter of fact, because I remember hearing about this recently with the NBA for that last Miami and Philly game. I think that's going to be broadcast on Tubi. Ain't nobody gonna watch that bullshit.
Hey, Tubi's got some good stuff, man. We just don't give it a chance.
Right, and they'll also have that last
and it's free.
That last Miami Heat Philly game that nobody will watch. Nah, I'm kidding. They might as well put it on Tubi because nobody want to watch that.
Yeah,
hey, definitely. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, yeah, definitely haven't watched any of that series like just yet. Like,
nor will you.
I've been just getting the updates on what's the name. That's it.
The
Yeah,
bottom
your
third.
son, your son hasn't been watching either. Hey, let's move on to the draft, to the NFL draft that happened last week. The Bears.
Bears.
Glenn,
Yes.
what did you think of Ryan Poles' first draft?
I thought that he and Eberflus did what they said they would do. They've been really consistent about their process, who they are, what they espouse in terms of where they want this team to go and how they want to go about constructing it. So I wasn't shocked by it. I think if you recall the last episode, I was talking about, like, if you saw two defensive players go out of the two of the first three picks, the Eberflus had an influence in those picks, and that's clearly what we saw. And that direction is telling me that this team is going to go the conservative route, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of like the hare tortoise draft in me. It's like, you want to be the hare and think you'll get all these, big time players and try and win fast, or do you want to be steady Eddie? And steady Eddie wins the race in the long run. And I think they're taking the tortoise approach to building this team. And I know a lot of people get frustrated, and understandable. We want to see things. Look, I've been a Bears fan for longer than a lot of people have been around, and it's been extremely frustrating over the decades. But I know it's an offensive league, air quotes, but we've seen Seattle Seahawks kind of built the same way in a lot of respects. Defense first, running game, bring in a quarterback, let the quarterback learn, develop, win, and as he gets better, then you start increasing his ability, or not increasing his abilities, but increasing his opportunities to be an elite quarterback. We saw the same thing with Buffalo, to be quite honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen didn't just blow up his first couple of years. It took him about his third, fourth year before he really started to assert himself. And again, they were building defense up and trying to build a running game, but he was the running game. But and maybe that's what we'll see with Justin. He may run a little bit more. But we also saw the Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl when Peyton Manning couldn't throw the ball 15 yards. We saw the defense win in that situation. So and not only that, but actually, to be quite honest with you, this past Super Bowl, the Rams won because of their defense primarily. Yeah. I mean, really. Yeah, the offensive, Stafford had that one drive, but primarily they won because of their defense. So I don't see a problem in building this way. And indirectly, it's going to help Justin because you're not going to have to necessarily be on the field as long because Ryan Pace, Poles, he drafted 4 offensive linemen. And he being a former offensive lineman, he knew exactly what he wanted to look for. So he got a lot of athletic offensive linemen. And we're going to see a lot of, outside zone scheming type of running plays. So he's got athletes, and you're going to bring in competition. And let's be honest, when we look at a lot of teams as far as their offensive lines, most offensive lines that are, unless you're bringing in a free agent, for the most part, when you're drafting your offensive lines, a lot of those guys are going to be between the 5th and the 7th round. They really are. You might have 1 or 2 guys that are first round, maybe second round picks. But for the most part, of your 5 offensive linemen, a good portion of them are anywhere between the 5th and 7th, maybe a few 4th rounders. So I don't see that being, so weird yet. You're building competition, and you give this offensive line an opportunity to gel and grow. And the onus, and like they said earlier, and I repeated it before, Eberflus said the onus of the offense is going to be on the running game. And so you do that with your offensive linemen. They get a chance to attack, they get to grow in continuity and chemistry and unity, and it keeps the defensive players off of Justin's ass. So we don't want to see a repeat of the Cleveland Brown game when he gets sacked 9 times and we screaming at the screen like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you trying to get this young man, beat up unnecessarily? So you can build your play action off of that. The receivers you have are maybe might not be household names yet, but again, I harken back to the Seattle Seahawks. When they won their Super Bowl, nobody knew who those receivers were. They were not household names. Okay. So I'm not saying the Bears are going to the Super Bowl next year, but I'm saying is you can build it with consistency and continuity, and your defense give you an opportunity. And then you look at the 2 guys they drafted, skill guys they drafted, and Velus Jones out of Tennessee, let's go Volunteers, and Ebner out of the running back out of Baylor, who's also kind of like a de facto slot receiver, kind of Tariq Cohen-ish in a way. Those guys are great return guys. They're also guys that can catch the ball and do things with the ball in their hands when they get out in open space. But more importantly, they're targets. These are guys who can do those underneath routes, so Justin doesn't have to try and wait for someone to go 15 yards, upfield and then 20 yards across the field or whatever, just before they can finally get open. These guys can get you underneath routes. They got several tight ends for pass catching tight ends, short, controlled passing game, and then you can do the play action pass. And Justin's got the big arm, so he can hit these guys because you also still have some speed on the team too. So I see the Bears having an opportunity to build consistently, figure out who they are, figure out who can play, figure out what Justin can do, what he does best. And not only that, but what the hell the offensive coordinator is. We don't know what kind of offensive coordinator he is. So he's going to have to learn how to call games. He's going to have to learn these things too. And why try and, like they say, you got to walk before you run. And I think right now we're seeing the Bears in this early phase of learning how to walk and learning how, to properly go about doing the things they need to do in terms of executing. And so it's consistent. It may be boring. You go back to the Lovie Smith Bears. They were kind of boring on offense to some degree, but that defense kept you in games, gave you field position, the special teams, sometimes won games, gave you field position. The offense didn't have to work as hard. And all these components can work in conjunction in that regard. So long answer to a short question. I think the Bears draft was consistent with who Poles and Eberflus are. And I'll be curious to see, who makes the team, who they keep, and how they're going to implement the offense. Because we pretty much know we've seen this type of defense before. So I think we have an idea of what this defense will be like. And the two guys they got, the first two picks they took, Kyler Gordon is going to be a little bit more athletic, Peanut Tillman, and Brisker is going to be a bit more physical, Mike Brown. So if that's the case, I'm good with that.
More physical than Mike Brown?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, dude. Mike Brown was aggressive, but I wouldn't say Mike Brown was just like devastating people with hits. You're gonna see Brisker hit some people, and you're gonna be like, damn, that was a nice ass hit. And I hope his body holds up better than Mike Brown.
You wouldn't tell Mike Brown that to his face, would you?
Look, I would. Compared to the safeties I've seen, dude, I've seen Doug Plank hit people. I've seen Gary Fensick hit people. I've seen Dave Durison. More importantly, I've seen Todd Bell destroy people. And Mike Brown is a great safety. I would never say he wasn't. I think
who did Todd Bell catch over the middle in Washington?
Gene Washington.
Washington. Was it Gene Washington?
Yes. That's why Gene Washington on that rules committee. He's like, man, that stuff shouldn't be allowed to happen to other people. I gotta put a stop to that kind of physicality.
So you think those two guys are they going to be day one starters?
If they're not, then I am really curious to see who these players in the Bears that are starting ahead of them. But yes, I think they'll be day one starters. Yes, matter of fact, I think you'll see of the 11 people that were drafted, and I'm including the punter, 11 players that were drafted. I think at least seven of these guys will be playing consistently but before September is over with. And you might see 10 of those 11 playing consistently before the year is out.
No, all those offensive linemen?
All of them? Not necessarily. I said playing consistently. So you've got Brisker, you've got Gordon, you've got Bellis Jones, you've got the punter.
No, I'm saying they drafted 4 offensive linemen though.
Right. I said 7 of the 11. I don't think all those offensive linemen. I said 7 of the 11 players will be playing consistently by week 3. We'll be playing consistently. I'm not saying starting, but playing consistently.
I like the fact they got a guy from Southern.
I knew you guys were going to like that. That's a good thing. And that's cool because,
the HBC you love.
Deion was very upset that the NFL wasn't really giving love to the HBCUs.
I was impressed by just hearing what you said last time we talked about, like the Bears need picks. Like we need picks. And what we started out the draft with, 4 picks or 6 picks? 5. And we walked away with 11 guys. Yeah. Like I was like, man, what the hell? Like I was just impressed with that, man. Like, and listening to you talk just then, this is something we haven't really been able to say like in the past, I don't know how long. It seemed like we see the vision. We see what the front office is trying to do. Versus in the past, it was like, what the hell are they trying to do? Like, what is the angle here? You see this in the first draft, so I mean, we'll see how it all play out. I mean, like I say, I didn't know much of the draft coming into this thing, so I'm not gonna go into, oh man, we didn't draft this, we didn't draft that, because look, as much as I love Fields, as much as we love Fields, the offense wasn't the only issue.
No,
the defense was pretty goddamn bad too.
Yeah,
so like, so like I told people before, like this is not going to be oh, we go get Devontae Adams and all of a sudden all of our problems are gone. No, we have issues everywhere. And now I was listening to Alex Brown the other day, and he was speaking on how now we're drafting Brewster is the safety, right?
Yeah.
By drafting Brewster, you can put my boy E-Jack back in his rightful place to just roam and no more relying on him to lay the hat on people. He was speaking like GM was speaking about this Brewster kid. He like, hey, he's gonna hit some people. So Brisker.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, he say this kid is going to hit some people, man. Yeah. He say so like Eddie can go back to his Roman,
right,
and let this kid lay the hat. And
I was just gonna say, like, to your point, the Bears have like a legitimate secondary now. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying they're not gonna make mistakes, because clearly Gordon's a rookie. He's not gonna do everything coming in, and Brisker as well. But you're not gonna see them. But by mid to late season, those situations where they're out of position, that's probably not going to happen, because these guys they're not just physical. These guys are really intelligent too. I mean, they have a high football IQ, and Eberflus is a really good teacher. Aside from being a head coach, from being our head coach and a former defensive coordinator, one of the things that the Colt players all talk about just how well he is, how well he did it, teaching and helping these guys understand and putting players in the best positions to succeed, and not asking them to do more than what they need to be doing to be able to be effective on the field, and their ability to be able to execute without having to have too much weight on their minds. And so this secondary, will be legitimate. Now, you still have to get pressure up front, and that's still going to be a bit of an issue. And the linebacking crew is going to need some depth as well. But I think, again, these guys they're being consistent with what they said they were going to do, how they're going to go about doing it. And as fans at this point, because it's a rebuild, that's pretty much, what we have to go on. And it's nice to know that they don't say one thing and do something else, as the previous regime did. Now, that's not to say in this draft there weren't some players I was just like, oh man, I can't believe they didn't draft that guy, or like, oh, they let that team jump in front of them and get him, or like, why would you take this guy? You maybe could have waited and taken that guy. Like, look, I'm a big Tennessee person. We all know that, school I went to, but they didn't have to take Velus Jones. Like, they could have taken Jalen Tolbert, and I'd have been okay later on. The lineman that went right after Velus Jones, Abraham Lucas from Washington State, I was kind of hoping we would take him. Christian Watson, the Green Bay jumped ahead of us and drafted him, so that's gonna hurt even doubly more. And I look at Green Bay's draft, and I was like, damn, man, that was a pretty good draft. It's like that's pretty good draft. Even the Lions, I'm like, oh. Yeah, they made some good moves too.
You talked about Jones there. Is there such thing as overdrafting?
How do you mean?
Like reaching? All right. So I was listening to some guys on ESPN radio, and they were talking about how like the Patriots may have may
Cole
have reached
Strange.
on a lot of on a lot of guys. But shouldn't you go after the guys that you want on your, no matter what, on your board instead of?
Well, I don't know, because if you have to give up draft capital to get somebody that probably would have been there if you didn't make a move.
But what if you did? Let's say you didn't trade. Let's say you're not trading up, but you're in your spot.
Okay.
What if you nailed down,
I can live with
15 guys that you wanted no matter what, and they're there when it's time for you to pick? Shouldn't you?
I'd say I'm more okay with that, but it all depends. It all depends on what the position is. All depends on your needs elsewhere. I think it all depends on where you are as a team. I mean, the Patriots, they're borderline playoff caliber team. So getting that guard may be the difference between the continuity offensive line, which allowed them to be able to play action better, run the ball better, protect the quarterback better. So getting that guy, and that guy may fit what they do more so than anybody else. I think they traded up. So that's where I'm like, I don't know if you have to trade up to do that. But I understand, like, let's say Strange fell right where they were picking. Okay. Yeah, I could, you go, okay, we'll see if it works. I mean, did you give latitude to the Patriots because of where they are as an organization, as opposed to a team that's been struggling like Chicago or let's say Washington, and you overreach, or the Atlanta Falcons? I mean, did the Atlanta Falcons really need to take a wide receiver with the 8th pick? And taking London, does that solve the problem? Because, like, who's throwing the ball to them? I mean, in a deep wide receiver draft, couldn't you have waited to the 2nd round to take a wide receiver if you're Atlanta? So in that case, it all depends. So to answer your question, I think it all depends. But yeah, I mean, if you see your guy, I mean, I'm hard pressed to say no. And, we do that sometimes in fantasy football. A guy be like, I had a chance to get him. He was right there. Everybody's like, yeah, well, he probably would have been there the next round. You don't know that. You don't know that no one else isn't thinking like you. So, you get him so no one else can. So I understand that. But I think when you have to give up capital to do that, and that's why I think when the overreach becomes a little bit noticeable, and it can become a little bit more regrettable because you lost another pick. So really, it's like that player is costing you 2 picks in a way.
Were you surprised Malik Willis dropped to the 3rd round?
Yes, I was surprised. I thought a lot of those guys were going the 2nd round. When they dropped in the 3rd round, I'm like, man.
Well, there were no quarterbacks taken in the 2nd round, right?
Or did Ritter go in the 2nd round?
No, Ritter went in the 3rd. He went to Atlanta. Yeah.
I thought was Matt Corral taken late in the 2nd round, or was he taken in the 3rd round?
I would have to look.
Who was I thought Ritter was the 2nd quarterback taken, or was it Corral?
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah,
it was. No QBs in the second round.
Okay.
Yeah, Ritter was the next one taken.
So it went Ritter, Malik, then Corral, right?
Yeah.
Sam Howell went in the 4th round, I think, right?
To the Patriots, right?
No, Howell went to Washington, I believe.
Yeah, Corral went to the Panthers,
right,
in the 30th pick of the 3rd round, and then.
Yeah, so he was into the 3rd round. I thought he was into the 2nd round, but he's into the 3rd round, right? And I think Sam Howell went to Washington in the 4th round.
Let me see.
Which, he might play sooner than later.
Yeah, that's not a bad situation for him.
If Wentz does what Wentz does. But yeah, man, I thought it was crazy interesting that these guys didn't go in the 2nd round. Like I thought, because I remember I was kind of postulating that a team like Atlanta might want to trade up with the Bears so they can make sure they get that quarterback, Ritter, and I thought it'd be worth the 2nd round pick.
They did trade up.
They
didn't take a quarterback though.
Right. They traded up. They took the Giants pick, which was right before the Bears. And then they switched. Yeah. They switched with the Giants, and Giants took their 4th round pick.
I was watching. I'm like, wait, did this shit just happen? What Glenn said was gonna happen?
So close.
And I'm like, no, it did. I'm like, no, it did.
So close. But Atlanta moving up was a team that I thought would move up. I thought they would move for the quarterback, but instead they moved up for who they took. So I think they moved up for an edge rusher. I think they took with the pick in the second round. But yeah, look, man, it's really I don't know what to say about this quarterback class because I will say this: these teams probably got them at a good value because they didn't take them in the first round, so and if it doesn't work out, no one's going to kill them. The fans aren't going to kill them because the quarterback didn't work out. But if it does work out, because now they're on team,
look like geniuses.
They'll look like geniuses, right? And it's not going to cost them a whole bunch, and they can renew their contract maybe a little bit sooner. But we'll see what happens. But for Ritter going to the Falcons, that's not a bad deal. Malik going to Tennessee may prove out to be way more beneficial sooner than that because Tannehill's having issues where he's going to see a sports therapist.
What you think about Tannehill saying that? Yeah, it's not my job to mentor him.
I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem with it. You just don't need to say it out loud.
Yeah, he should have just kept it to himself. First off,
right.
Brett Favre can say what he said about Aaron Rodgers. And people was mad about it, but goddamn it, that's Brett Favre. Ryan Tannehill, you're not going to leave Tennessee and get a team to a conference championship game. Right. You're not going to do it. You're probably going to not leave them and be even a starting quarterback somewhere else. So just leave it to yourself. We get it. You threatened.
Right. Exactly.
We get it. Exactly. I understand. Look, you in the competition mode. I get it. I feel you. Compete, but you could have kept it to yourself.
Right. Plus, he's got that big contract, and the NFL, they don't have to keep paying players if they don't have to. They can get a cheaper option.
Mm-hmm.
So he feels even more threatened, I'm sure.
That's if you ain't producing.
Right. Well, he's got that onus of that playoff game stuck in his head. So. And we kid and we joke, but sometimes, or actually a lot of times in professional sports, there's a thin line. The athleticism and the abilities, a lot of these players have, otherwise they would be playing in the NFL. But that confidence, that mental ability to know what you can do and to be able to continually do it, once your confidence is kind of shaken or you're mentally kind of questioning what you do and once it's getting into your head, man, especially at a high skill position like quarterback. I mean, how much did they kill? What's the quarterback for the Panthers now that the Jets had?
Yeah, when he said he saw ghosts.
He saw ghosts. Right, mm-hmm. Right. I'm seeing ghosts, and people are like, whoa, seeing ghosts. I don't know about this. It's like some things just keep to yourself. So yeah, I mean, Tannehill. Hey, Malik might remind a lot of Tennessee fans of the brother from Alcorn State.
McNair.
Air
McNair.
Not as tall, but very, McNair-esque type kind of game. So, fans love the backup quarterback. so I thought some of these guys, and not only that, but Coral on the Panthers. I mean, that's a quarterback quandary right there. I mean, that's a mess there with their quarterback situation. So, Corral might find himself playing by the end of the year as well. So these guys may have found themselves on teams by, not on horrible teams per se. Actually, the teams they're on aren't really that good. Atlanta and the Panthers are kind of struggling, but they're on teams where the situations for them to play and the team and the players around them are kind of on the upswing as opposed to the downswing. It's not like Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville. They didn't have anything. Or if Ritter had found himself or someone found himself on the Detroit Lions or something like that. So it's interesting. I thought the Giants might draft a quarterback, but they didn't. Just to put a little pressure on Jones, but we'll see. But it was an interesting draft, man. A lot of trade. I mean, the trades are just. This is not your daddy's NFL. I mean, these teams are not afraid to trade. We saw so much movement before the draft with quarterbacks being maneuvered around. So I don't even think that the way we've seen the drafts or the league, I think it's changed irrevocably now. And you're going to see, whenever you see quarterbacks the ilk of Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan, and these guys being traded and moved around, and Deshaun Watson, I mean, you're talking, 3 of like the top 12 quarterbacks in the league just got shuffled like a deck of cards. Like, really? Like, you're not trying to keep these guys? And you got other quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield's the first pick in the draft not too long ago. I don't know where he's going to be.
I was gonna say, yeah. Are you surprised that that no one's tried to trade for him yet?
No, because the Browns did it to themselves.
Why?
Yeah, there's no need to.
It's the Browns' fault.
Exactly. That's all
the Browns' fault that they're gonna have to give him up for free.
Pretty much. But
so what would have been the better move then?
Well, here's the thing. If you're the Browns, yes, in one respect, we can look at it the way we both just talked about it and the way we both espouse. But on the other hand, we don't know what the punishment's going to be for Deshaun Watson. We don't know how long he's going to sit out. He might be out 6 weeks, 6 games.
But don't they got Jacoby Brissett?
Backup. Yes, they have Jacoby Brissett, but you got Baker Mayfield, who already understands the offense. He already has a rapport with the team and the players.
I'm saying, so why bring him in?
Because you don't want to keep Baker, but you just don't know how long Deshaun Watson is going to be unavailable. So you kind of, I'm saying is they're hedging their bets that we've got quarterback depth won't be an issue for the Browns. Out of all the teams in the NFL, quarterback depth won't be a problem. And the only problem they have as far as winning and being a Super Bowl caliber team is at that position. So once the Deshaun Watson thing figures itself out, I'm sure you'll find Baker, given his walking papers, whether they let him go or not. But right now, since no one's going to trade for him, no one's going to give him up, it behooves the Browns to just keep Baker. As disgruntled as Baker might be, it's like, look, man, if Deshaun can't play and you're playing, you are your best.
You can't bring him to camp.
Why not?
Because it'll be so much. It'll
be a circus
division, yeah.
So it isn't already a circus. It hasn't already been a circus.
It's not like this.
Hey, it's going to be awkward, no doubt. But you're not trying to make friends.
You can't bring him to camp.
Look, man, if Deshaun's out, so then you need to sign another quarterback.
No, you don't.
If Deshaun is, I'm saying, if you get rid of Baker, if you don't bring him to camp, if you say, you know what, don't come, we're paying you to stay home, and Deshaun can't play, that means you only have one quarterback that can play. He gets hurt, what are you going to do? You can't activate Watson. So you're going to have to sign another quarterback.
You got Jacoby Brissett.
Okay, let me say this again. You start the season.
You got to have a backup for Jacoby.
You got to have a backup for Jacoby.
I thought they do have a backup for.
So they have 4 quarterbacks on staff?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
they got Josh Dobbs.
Like I said, you need a backup for Jacoby. Look, he's a Tennessee guy, but he should be teaching astrophysics somewhere or making a rocket. That dude should not be playing football. Look, I don't know. It's a weird situation, but that's what I'm saying. The NFL never 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, we never would have seen anything like this. There's no way you keeping the first pick. You trade them before all that happens. If you trade them, you're not keeping the first pick at home, paying them because you don't want them to come there. And meanwhile, you've guaranteed a guy with a dubious past right now $230 million. It's a different NFL. It's a different NFL.
Hey, let's move on to baseball before we get out of here. Congratulations, Smoke, to your New York Yankees.
Them damn Yankees.
They're on 11-game winning streak.
11-1.
First place in the American League.
We lost yesterday.
Oh, he lost. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a nice
Well,
streak,
nice
man.
start, 18-7 right now as we talk. But that's gonna be a tough race though.
We
With the
gotta stay
Rays
healthy.
and the Jays. What's up with the
That's
Red Sox?
Laying in the
who gives
weeds.
a, who gives a shit.
Wow. Really?
I love it. I love it. Meanwhile, my White Sox started off pretty poorly, but luckily they're
Y'all
in a
gotta get
poor
healthy,
division.
man.
Yeah. I mean, the pitching staff was ravaged, starting with Lynn. Giolito got hurt there early on.
Kelly's, I think, done for the season, right? The reliever, Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
He's done for the season.
Yeah, I forgot they even signed him.
Right.
Right. And what's the big tall dude?
45, Crochet.
Yeah, Crochet.
Crochet is having Tommy John surgery.
Right. So he's done for the season. And
you got your play. You got your position players.
right.
Eloy's out.
Makata hasn't played yet. Yeah. Though I guess he should be coming back pretty soon here. Robert was out for a little bit with a groin strain. Right. And after the catch he made at Wrigley the other night, I'm shocked he's still okay. He ran, man. He made the catch. Made the catch, but that shoulder caught that brick wall out there in center field. That's not good.
Yeah.
Not good. But looks like hopefully they're turning it around. Got a tough couple series coming up. You got Well, we talked about Boston. Who gives a shit is what Smoke said. And we got Cleveland again. And then followed by the Yankees coming to town next weekend, which I might try to get some tickets for that.
Yeah, we need to be.
I'll be out of town, man. That's some bull crap.
Both those series against Boston and Cleveland, those are 3-game series.
Yes.
All right, we need to be 4-2 before we go take on these trumped up ass Yankees.
Yeah, hopefully with somewhat there's some health there. You know, we're a little bit healthy by then. Well, Eloy's not coming back for a while.
No.
With his hamstring issue, but I saw him throwing the ball the other day.
Yeah, that's nice.
So that's
He's out.
They said 6 to 8.
Yeah,
6 to 8
weeks. Okay.
Just bring him back right before All-Star break. That's all. When they get super warm out, hamstrings are limbered up. I don't want him being the Kerry Wood of throwing do that towel exercises or something like that.
The towel drills. I remember those. I remember those.
You see Eloy doing those bands, always walking with those bands, stretching his hamstring. Like, man, I don't need to see all that. Man. You need to be a DH hitting the ball.
It was good to get a couple games against the Northsiders.
Well, you know what I was gonna say though, man.
That was right on time for y'all.
I was gonna say though, there was no hype for this series though.
It's the middle of the week. It's cold.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Even know that it was going on. Like,
there was no hype.
That series should always. I think Cap said it on one of Unfiltered. I think his show is like that game. Or maybe the guys might have said it after post game. That game should always be played on a weekend, and it should be a 3-game series. It should be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, both times. There's no way in hell the Cubs.
Well, your problem is you got the. They only play each other 4 times.
I understand.
Years.
I know. I'm just saying.
Unless they do it so that you do a Thursday through Sunday, 2 at one place, 2 at another.
Or that.
They can do that.
Yeah, I'll buy even that. That actually would be kind of sweet.
Look at that. I should be commissioner.
You should be.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, because Ryan Manfred ain't shit.
I know how to solve problems there. Yeah, there was no hype. It was some 2 good games, but yeah, I like when you know what I'm saying there's hype and the fans are going at it and you know. But maybe like they play each other again on the South Side.
And the Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. So that
it'll be over before it shouldn't be over before the July 4th, man. You should at least have like one before July 4th and one after July 4th.
Yeah, it should be in the middle of summer.
Or on July 4th. Like
that made me think about the Yankees Mets because I'm like, I need to look up when they play because both of them are leading both leagues.
Yeah,
the
Mets are
like you don't want that series to be played like now. Like you want
the Mets are 5 games up right now. I mean, they should be. They spent enough money in off season, but yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Speaking of right quick, if I can. Speaking of Rob Manfred ain't shit. I don't know if y'all watched it. It's not new, but I just watched it. Screwball. I watched it on Netflix, a documentary, kind of the whole Bosch.
I've never watched it. I've seen it, but I've never watched it.
It's hilarious.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's hilarious, and it's so hilarious because it's true. it's like you can't make this stuff up. It's like, are you serious? And dude, I don't know how A-Rod is even doing anything with MLB. Like, why would MLB associate themselves with him? That dude is so scummy that you could like wipe off the side of your shoe, and that would still not come close to how scummy he is. I mean, dude, it was.
Well, that's not MLB. That's a Fox deal, right? He works for Fox, right?
No. You're representing Major League Baseball.
When you do that, I think Major League Baseball has some insight.
But no, Pete Rose was working for Fox, so he was. Remember that?
Again, I don't understand how scummy people like this are allowed to proliferate and do things when they have.
No. I understand what you're saying. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that's a Fox deal.
Look, and Pete Rose, he's kind of a curmudgeonly, scummy kind of guy. You know, he's like old school, like whatever. And the gambling thing, you know, nowadays it looks like whatever. But A-Rod, that's straight like his ass should be in jail, man. Like, how did he escape jail time? He's obstructing stuff. I mean, I guess it's Major League, so it wasn't like he was obstructing, you know, an actual federal investigation. But the feds got involved in some respect. Look, man, you just watch Screwball and you come away going like, man, this is some shady shit. Like MLB looked bad, A-Rod looked bad. No one looked good in this thing at all. Nobody looked good. But if you watch it, it's definitely entertaining. And it's just like, I can't believe this stuff actually happened. But, you know, hey, it's America.
Hey, Glenn, I saw you on Unfiltered talking about the NFL draft, by the way. Good stuff.
I checked it out too.
It was very good. It was insightful. And I think you learned Cap a lot there.
Well, I think you guys are kind.
He learned a lot.
I appreciate your generous words. But I told Ed some of the truth about where my brain was on some of those things. It felt like 3 seconds of a freeze felt like about 20 minutes. I was like,
no, it's not, it was good. It was natural.
Hey, I liked it.
I thought it was great.
I really did. Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Man, I've ripped through that. That was good.
That was awesome.
That was good. That was I like that. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find a link to our podcast as well as the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs. Catch me on there as well. And the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson. Yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, like we always say, we ain't saying we're right. We just don't think we're wrong.
We'll catch you next week.